Chapter 124. Right, Maggie?
Yes.
Chapter 21. My behavior may be wrong, but it's not my fault.
Yep.
Everybody done their summaries? Okay. Who's going to elect themselves to read it? No one? Okay. Warren? Anyone? Pressure. Ignis? Please do your summary for me. And the white one, Letitia, please read your summary for me, please. Okay, starting with Warren, please read your summary now.
Okay, from the golden mentality, where it is one of my faults, it's unwillingness to take responsibility for one's own actions. The next one is it's all your faults, which references were from Sarai, Abraham, and Hagar from the Bible, which is Genesis 1:16-6, and also Adam and Eve, Genesis 3:12-13. And then if was the Lord of the Israelites in Egypt, as the references in the story, from Numbers 21 verse 5. So I'll stop making excuses. And then about this, the scouts came back, and although they had noted some of the positive aspects of factors in the land, they were more set on the negatives, which is about from Numbers 13:1-3 and from about 28. And if the Bible two most acceptable ways of Satan influence our minds. So the truth of the inner being. Have mercy upon me, Psalm 151:1-6. If we want to receive God's blessings, we must be honest with ourselves, within and about ourselves. And then confession precedes forgiveness. He will forgive us and all our sins if we confess freely and admit we have sinned, which is 1 John 8-10. And God is quick to forgive us. If we truly repent, we must acknowledge and praise God about what we have done, and admit about what we have done.
Three more. No more.
No more.
Thank you. But thank you. Thanks for the effort you make. Ignis?
We have to take responsibility for our own actions and stop placing the blame on others or our circumstances. We have to face the truth about ourselves instead of running from it. We cannot use the past as an excuse and let it determine the way we act and think.
Tisha?
A major cause of wilderness living is an unwillingness to take responsibility for your own actions, blaming everything that is wrong or goes wrong on someone else. It is emotionally painful facing the truth about ourselves and our behavior. Due to that pain, we choose to run from it. We have an endless list of excuses of why we behave badly. It all starts with an if. We are not sure God can change us, so we hide from ourselves rather than facing ourselves as we really are. God is quick to forgive us if we truly repent. But we cannot truly repent if we will not face and acknowledge the truth about what we have done.
Okay, good question. This mentality, this particular mentality, I truly believe that it's a big part of every one of our lives. Every one of us that are here for recovery, every one of us that are here for dysfunctional behavior, I think we all get caught up in this wilderness mentality. And the problem with this is it comes down to a big word, and we don't like the word, and we seem to not understand the word or the meaning of the word. It's called denial. Denial. If you're stuck in this, you're in complete denial. Because you cannot change your life if you focus on what everybody else is doing wrong. And you see it time and time again when we're under pressure or when we're upset about life, upset about the way someone's treated us, we immediately abdicate responsibility. We will no longer take responsibility. Think about when you're angry or you're irritated about a situation. What normally happens? Generally, when you're angry, are you willing to listen to any form of reason?
No.
Most of us refuse to listen to any form of reason when we're angry. If you felt someone has done you in or someone is getting away with something, are you willing to listen? You see, and the thing here is it's not so much correcting the person that's done something wrong or the person that's made us angry to calm us down. It will come down to our own responsibility to look at what we need to look at and do what we need to do despite the way we feel. Despite the way we feel. Life is life. Life can treat you badly, life can go wrong, but I must admit in my life, The majority of what's going wrong in my life has been my own majority of it. These things have happened to me, and things have been about fair, something along the line where I had nothing to do with it. It's called life. But a lot of the mistakes and a lot of the problems that I've caused in my life has been my own. I must take ownership issues. Ownership issues. I'll take ownership of the correct things. And every one of us sitting here, most of us sitting here, yes, we've had bad stuff happen to us. But we need to understand the reason it's got worse is not because of what happened then. It's got worse because we refuse to take responsibility. And that's one of the things the centre at this place, or any centre or any place of recovery, actually tries to instill in you without actually speaking much about it, is to take responsibility for your own actions. You have to. Despite your counsellor being an idiot, or despite the monitor being, despite what's happening out there, despite the boyfriend leaving you, or the girlfriend leaving you, despite the divorce, despite, you need to understand, and we need to understand, that we need to take responsibility, and we must stop blaming others. We need to stop blaming others. If you look at your blocks and assets to recovery, is blame shifting or blaming others, is it a block or an asset to recovery? It's a block. Does it say if the person is a real douche, then it's not a block to recovery? Does it say that? Does it say that if you're really hurting and you're really angry, there's no longer a block to recovery? You need to understand that's what we teach here. We teach principles. And a principle exists despite the way you feel. Despite the way you feel. We've seen Fireproof. I think a lot of us have seen Fireproof. Most of us. Those of you who haven't seen Fireproof, in a nutshell, what happens is it's a married couple. They go through issues in their marriage. And what happens is the father steps in and he says to him, son, before you divorce your wife, please do this book. It's called The Love Dare. And it's not about the love dare, it's about the principle, what I'm going to tell you now. And what happened was he had to do a certain amount of things for 40 days. And as he started doing these things, not based on her behavior, but based only on his behavior, he had to take responsibility. He like give her flowers the one day, and made her coffee the one day. In the first few days, what would happen is she'd throw the coffee out. Okay? Or you put flowers down, and she would throw the flowers away. So he would do these things, and in the first few days, he freaked out. He said, Dad, what's going on here? Nothing's changing. But at the end of the day, the moral of the story was this, that when he started changing, because that's what happened, he started changing despite her behavior. Guess who got affected? She did. So we need to understand for our lives to change. It's not about us changing the person next to you. It's about us changing and us responding the right, correct way. The good way. Amen? Amen. And it doesn't change for anybody. I don't care what happened to you. Not that we don't care what happened to you. Don't know, Ralph doesn't care. No, what I'm going to say is, despite what happened to you, life doesn't care. Life doesn't go, oh shame, this happened to you when you were younger, or the person left you, or they messed you around. Life doesn't care. Life doesn't go in a standstill. That's what we think. We get into addiction and alcoholism, and thinking that life's in a standstill, and when we finally snap out of it, we'll be where we were. No. We step out of it and realize, geez, we actually got older. Let's take a captain, Marty. Thanks. You just realize that. Eh? Oliver, me and you come from a bit of a similar place, the Boxburg, right? Yeah. And I remember, I've got memories of walking out of school, and memories of making maracas, and issues that I had then, which I obviously dealt with at the time. And what happened one day, I looked in the mirror, and guess what? I'm no longer that young guy. You're no longer that guy. And that's the big thing that this mentality does. It steals time from you. And it will continue to steal time from you until you start taking responsibility. Until you start not looking at what everybody else, or blaming everybody else for what you're doing wrong. Because despite it, if you stand before a court of law, let's say they caught you for drug possession, and you say, you know what, my dad and my mom did this, or you know what, my wife messed me around, or you think the judge goes, now I understand. It's perfectly fine, guys. No, you can go. Does he do that? No. So why do we allow our behavior to do that? If you stand before a wise man, or a mentor, or a pastor, or someone that give you advice, they will encourage you or comfort you. But you still need to take responsibility. It is up to you to stand up. The judge's not going to throw it out and go, oh shame, your wife, what a cow. No? Like really, no, you know what, those 10 bags of methamphetamine, no, it's not a problem. Just Please don't do it anymore. We need to take responsibility. Okay, my behavior may be wrong, but it's not my fault. Who will say that to you? Who says the behavior might be wrong, but it's not your fault? Anybody here? Anybody put your hand up? So it's not your fault because your behavior is wrong.
No, that was mentality.
Okay, it was. Okay.
Yeah.
What am I saying? Right now, as you sit here right now,
No.
anybody have good behavior? Anybody? Please raise your hands. Anybody?
Oh,
You're working on it. Now, none of us would raise our hands and say, none of us are sitting right now, as we said, no one here. Anybody thinking it? This week. But guess what? When we're being corrected, when someone's trying to mentor you or trying to speak into your life, guess what your behavior is saying? That's very easy. Look at it. Look at it when correction comes your way. Look at it when a challenge comes your way. Look at it. Look at it when you end up in committee or someone comes. Look at what you do immediately. Look at what we do. It's that person's fault. And you can walk around with a chip on your shoulder, and in your head going, it's that person's fault that I'm in this trouble, and not take responsibility. So even though we don't say it with our mouths, we don't come to committee and go, you know what, Lucas, my behavior may be wrong, but it's not my fault. Even though we might not say it with our mouths, our attitudes, and the way we do things does say it. And one of my counselees and it's a big thing with mirrors, like I've got a mirror thing there. I don't have mirrors in my house, that's not what I'm saying. Is that what God's dealing with in my heart right now is that what are mirrors for? Is to look at yourself. So why do we use mirrors to look at everybody else? Can you imagine walking around in the street with a mirror and then coming and people think you're weird, eh? They will, eh? Think you're nuts. But will they think you're nuts if you do this? That's when they think you're a bit vain. Because we do it too often. But that's what we do. That's how we live our lives. We live our lives like this. Check it out. So we do. So we come to rehab. We are here to form our dysfunctional behavior. There's no one here sitting here that hasn't had some form of dysfunctional behavior. We'll be walking around doing this all the time. Okay? Even worse with our past. We're doing this with our past. And while we're doing this with our past and what's happened to us with the mirror, what we've done, we cannot do this. We cannot change this. We cannot. It's impossible. It's impossible. You've got to be a really good boxer to still beat the guy who's there. I'm sure the guys that are that good, they can well there. But in a general fight, which you are, a fight for love, to look there and fight here is insanity. Okay? Insanity. Can you see it? An unwillingness to take responsibility for one's own actions. Unwillingness. So, like I said, none of you will sit here and say, I'm not going to take responsibility for my actions, but your behavior and your attitude does say it. If you know you have a wife and kids, and you know you have to do certain things, and you're in the street all the time getting high, hanging out at everybody else's house, even though you're not saying it, what do your actions say? Unwillingness. Unwilling. So the good news is, the day you step into any sector, any place of help, guess what you're doing? You're saying that I'm going to start taking responsibility for my life. That's what you're saying. But guess what? It comes with a price, doesn't it? It comes despite the way you feel. It comes despite the way you feel. It comes despite your understanding. If your understanding was so fantastic, you wouldn't have to sit in the seat. Please understand. Even though many of you are very intelligent, you understand. Somewhere along the line, your understanding will become tainted. You have to. What is that? That is looking in the mirror. That is looking in the mirror. And I must admit, it is scary looking in the mirror and remembering yourself from that day. You still used to have hair, and you see the hair's not. It is hard. It is hard. But if you just look, you can't make it look a bit better. Huh? Shake it off. Okay, one's own actions, blaming everything that is wrong or goes wrong on someone else, is a major cause for wilderness mentality, or wilderness living. We see the problem manifesting from the beginning of time. When confronted with their sin in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve blamed each other, God and the devil, thus evading personal responsibility for their actions. So from that day already, so it's had a bit of a spin-off. You find us doing the same thing. Okay? I mean, you go through a divorce, and all you can think about is how much you dislike your ex-wife. And while you dislike your ex-wife, you don't realize when you meet someone that maybe God's blessed you with, a new wife. Guess what? Guess how you're going to see the new wife? Same as your ex-wife. Even if she's nothing like it. Now Sarai, Abraham's wife, had borne him no children, and she had an Egyptian manservant, maid servant. That's where it started. That was it. I always said, don't do that. Don't do that. It's close. I'm blushing. You're wondering what I was thinking. Now I can't tell you. So Sarah said to Abraham, see now, the Lord has restrained me from bearing children. It's God's fault. He's restrained me from bearing children. Not taking responsibility for himself. If you read the Bible out, you'll see a lot of times when women are barren, there is some form of, there's something happening somewhere. There is something happening. But that's another story. See now, the Lord has restrained me from bearing children. Please go into my maid. So what did you say? Take my maid. Who said it? Sarah said. Said no, because she wants it and she's hearing that God doesn't do it. Now she's doubting that it can happen. She said, please take my man so you can have a child. Obviously realizing that Abraham really wanted to have a child. And I shall obtain children by her. And Abraham heeded the voice of Sarah. So you listen. Yeah. He did. I'm sure you resisted. I'm sure you like fought tooth and nail. I won't do it. Don't make me sleep with another lady. So you really went out. Then Sarah, Abraham's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian. Can you see it? Can you see the fighting? I know that's why you guys are laughing. It's a very funny fighting scene. Dragging him out to the maid's quarter. Then Sarah, Abraham's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, and gave it to her husband, Abram, and to his wife. After Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan. Don't worry guys, you only have 6 months plus. Yeah, you could. Depending on your behavior. Hello. It's all based on your behavior. It's all based on you taking responsibility.
Sorry, can I just ask a question?
If you have to.
If Abraham did that, then he also had doubts about what was said to him.
Of course, yes. You
So he also passed it out.
Abraham was very quiet. He was one of those quiet guys.
That's cool.
He was. I'll show you. I can prove it. Yeah, watch. He was quiet. He heeded his wife's voice. And so he went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, now watch. What did Sarah say? Take my maidservant and have a child. That was the instruction. Well, that was the thing. So Sarah thought she was doing the right thing at that time, based on the way she feels. Right? And her mistress became despised in her eyes. Now, wait. Where do we miss it here? Sarah started to do that. Now that it happens, guess what? Sarah starts this is liking Hagar. Starts turning on him. But so what happens? She's saying, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. She's fallen pregnant. You gave the instruction. You said, do that. And when it did happen, she's not taking responsibility at all. She really starts passing back. So much so that she forces Abraham to send Hagar out into the wilderness. The wilderness mentality. Then Sarah said to Abraham, my wrong be upon you. Wow. Eh? Dragging him out, kicking and screaming. You should have said no. I mean, we joke about it when in a relationship and a lady says no, she no, it's fine, don't come home. Work as late as possible. Guys, be careful.
It's a trap.
No, it's a trap. Yes. The ladies are hoping that you will think further than your nose.
Yeah.
That's what they do. So Abraham should have thought further than his nose. Here's a good example. Abraham should have realized, wait a minute. See with your maidservant, there might be repercussions. You're going to be completely mad. Right? The Lord judge between you and me. Really, so that's the things God into it. Saying the Lord will judge between me and you. Who's more righteous? The Lord. So Abraham said to Sarah, indeed your maid is in your hands. What? Who could pass away responsibility to Abraham? Abraham, she called Abraham Lord. Has any of your chicks ever called you Lord? Huh? Has anybody? No, any ladies, anybody called you Lord? Like. She used to call Abraham Lord. And yeah, instead of taking responsibility and saying, hey, he says, indeed in your hands. So do to her as you please. passes off responsibility. So Sarah passes responsibility, Abraham passes responsibility, and when Sarah dealt harshly with her, she fled from her presence. So she didn't chase her away, she just dealt harshly, just spoke to her then, didn't treat her nicely. I don't think when she told Abraham to go to Hagar, I don't think Hagar didn't have an idea. I mean, Abraham pictured up, oh, what are you doing here? I'm sure it was discussed. You understand? So imagine the confusion of this poor lady. She's the maid servant, she's a slave to these people. The odd shot of the cat pictures up. The thing happens that was after happened, and then now Sarah says, no, it's your fault. Abraham says, no, it's your fault. And then they take it out on her, and she runs away. And we're laughing about it, but that's what we do. The spirit of it. I don't think you guys have the same experience. I don't think they have, they'll talk encounter. But when I say that spirit, that same thing. Where things play out. Where things play out, and when it plays out, no, it's your fault, no, it's your fault. Oh, look at the name. You come together, get married, divorce happens, you blame each other. You made a commitment to one another. Hello? The same scenario played out between Adam and Eve is seen here despite a dispute between Adam and Sarah. They were tired of waiting on God to fulfill His promise. So there's one of the roots of it. We get impatient. God will take, it says in Romans 8:28, God will take all things and turn them for your good. For those that love God and call according to His purpose. He will. He will. But it's not on your time. Not on your time. And the way that happens is for you to start taking responsibility. Start taking responsibility. Start trusting in God and looking beyond your circumstance and situation. God will come along and you'll see things start panning out. There are many examples. There are guys that are out there now. There's examples of it. There are guys that are doing very well out there. They've gone through a process. It wasn't in their time. And it took longer than what they expected. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you now, they don't regret a moment of taking responsibility and spending the time they need to spend to change their lives. Think about what you come out of. Those of you who've been here for a few weeks, think about what you come out of. Think about it. Those of you that have been here for a few months, think about why. Think about picture what was going on in your life before you arrived. Picture, just look at it. Then what's wrong with us? As soon as things get not coming right, I'm not saying you just beat yourself up all the time. But just as much as it took a process to put yourself in the situation, it will take a process to take yourself out of the situation. God can immediately come and change your heart, immediately give you hope. That's wow. But understand, you're still going to walk it out. If the promise He's given you in your heart is there, you still need to walk there. And when we get to heaven one day, they say you can move at the speed of thought, all of those doctrinal things that you're thinking to be there. Right now, guess what? If you want to get down to the river, you've either got to walk there or take the bucket. Now we get upset because of it. No, really, come on, God. I know we won't say it with our mouths, but sometimes our attitude and our behavior says exactly that. Exactly. So guys, pick up the mirror and look. Look. Make the changes. Some of us look and get a fright. Oh, I don't want to look again. Okay? If you look and your beard is shaved askew in the mirror, you don't walk away and complain about it all day, and it's Oliver's fault, he borrowed my razor. Oliver, you saw it yesterday. You saw my beard at school. You didn't tell me. Now you've seen it. You've seen your beard at school. Despite you not telling me. It's my responsibility to fix it. Hello? In the past, I observed the same kind of scene countless times in my house between Dave and me. Not Dave and me, Dave and me. Yes, Ralph was talking about Dave. Because not many of you got your books out. Let's go. It seemed that we were continually evading a real issue in life, never wanting to face reality. Now this young lady, Joyce, is very well known. Many of us have heard about her. She's become very popular in circles, especially with ladies encouraging and stuff. And even for ourselves, we use it here. But she's just saying now, one of the reasons we don't change our lives is because we don't face reality. Now, a lady that's this successful just made a statement that her and her husband don't face reality. So understand that. Just because you come in and face reality in the addiction, understand when you leave, you're still going to face reality in moving on going forward. Denial is something you must look at day in and out. I vividly remember praying for Dave to change. Huh? That's what we do. Okay? We become super spiritual when we start praying for each other to change. I had been reading my Bible and was seeing more and more of his flaws and how much He needed to be different. As I prayed, the Lord spoke to me and said, Joyce, Dave is not the problem. You are. One of the biggest revelations I got, and I took my eyes off that revelation, is the issues, and I've preached about it before, is heart issues. Not the person next to you, your heart. Your thinking, your understanding. That's what needs to change. I was devastated. I cried and cried for 3 days because God was showing me what it was like to live in the same house with me. Imagine that. Imagine God could do that. Imagine. And He can do it if you submit. He can show you. But imagine sitting here now and, okay, we do a counseling session and today it's Warren's. We bring you into this hall and close the curtains and stuff, and then God projects your life. And He starts showing you, obviously He shows you what happened to you, what's been wrong. He also shows you all the bad decisions the fights the things you've said. It even goes further, not just your action, but even goes further to show you what thoughts you have. How do you think? How do you think? You think you'll break it?
Of course.
And despite what happened to you, right? Despite what happened to you, I bet you what happened to you would pale in comparison to what you've allowed yourself to do to others and to yourself. I went for 3 days because God has shown me what it was like to live in the same house with me. He showed me how I tried to control everything that went on. What did addicts do? How I nagged and complained and how hard it was to please me. How negative I was. And on and on. It was a shocking blow to my pride. Key pride. But it was also the beginning of my recovery in the Lord. So despite you having to look at it, and despite the pain that you need to go through, because that's what happens, we avoid the pain. So despite the pain you need to go through, yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. You need to go through the pain. So again, you need to go through the pain. You need to go through the discomfort. You need to go through the times you don't realize. You need to. Because that's what you've been avoiding for most of your life. And when you avoid these things, guess what? You don't grow. You don't grow. Many of us sitting here have not grown in that area because we refuse to play in the discomfort. We refuse to look in the mirror and go through what we need to go through. Refuse. So we're sitting here, we're refusing right now. You're having thoughts and you're having ideas, and instead of listening to what's going on inside of you, you're more concerned about what you don't agree with. Like most people, I blame everything on someone else or some circumstances beyond my control. I thought I was acting badly because I had been abused. I don't think it was a choice to be abused. So she's one of the people that at the end of the day, something did happen to her. And it caused a lot of anger and bitterness inside. A lot of times the anger and bitterness we are facing or going through right now is because we dislike ourselves so much for the bad decisions we make. But God told me, abuse may be the reason you act this way, but don't let it become an excuse to stay. Okay? I like that. Can I say it again? But don't let it become an excuse to stay this way. So all the mistakes you've made, all the things you're angry about yourself or those around you, don't let it be the excuse to stay this way. But rather be the excuse to change. You don't like the pain you're going through because of the decisions you made and change the way you make decisions. Not rocket science. But what happens is our enemy deceives us. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Satan works hard on our minds. He doesn't have power on our minds. It's a power of suggestion. Greg, please leave the class and go sit outside. It's up to you to do it. If Jericho or Lucas finds you outside instead of in the class, who's in trouble? You are. Even though I see what's going on. See what happens? That's what he does. He deceives you. He deceives you thinking, yes, no, I have to do it like this. Ralph said so. I wouldn't fair to say, Greg, I need you to go outside to wait for one of the guys. I'll just tease you, make you sit outside and laugh. I do have those moments in my life. It's fun sometimes. I was dealing with people to do it. But I don't do it often anymore. I remember working at Gazebo restaurants, and the new waitresses who come in, I used to give them lettuce with tomato sauce and another fork and tongue to table 148. It's between Stearns and Woolworths. I didn't say them off. And by the time they come back, they went to travel with the manager and everybody else, and I'm just laughing. I didn't take responsibility. I don't think there's anything more emotionally painful than facing the truth about ourselves and our behavior. What did you run away from? The emotional pain. So what happens when we come here? The reason we take strain is not because the monitor in your room is an ass. We take strain because we're looking at things and feeling things we've not felt for a long time. You need to see it for what it is. Because it is painful, most people run from it. I'm only going to stay here 1 month. I'm only going to stay here 3 months. We don't see it. You see, it's like we're the shirts and we got it together and we don't need to be here a long time. And we don't realize we're actually not running away from the center or getting away to go live our lives, and we're actually running away from ourselves because we don't like what we see. We think we don't like what we see when we look like this, but we don't like what we see when we come inside here. We don't like the way we feel when we're here. We don't like the way we feel when we're here. We don't like the way we feel when we're in a relationship that maybe we think we don't understand. We don't like the way we feel, so we run away from it. So how you overcome it? Face the way you feel. Take responsibility for the way you feel and make the necessary changes. Most people run from it. It is fairly easy to face truth about someone else. Very easy. Is some an agreement? Yes, that makes such a deal. Yeah? Arsene Wenger. Yes, I believe. But when it comes to facing ourselves, we find it much harder to do. When it comes to facing ourselves, we find it much harder. If, I like this if. And people spoke against God and against Moses. Let me ask you something. If Moses was your leader, and you saw him part the Red Sea, and you saw his staff turning into a snake, and, which one of you would give him hassles? In 3 million Israelites give him hassles. They saw miracles that we just read about. So it shows you it's a mentality, it's a mindset. Make any sense. You hang your hands up in the Red Sea pass, and you walk the Red Sea, and you get that side, and you got a whole big issue with the way Moses runs things. That's what they did. They did it. They actually did it. Think about it. Think about how deceptive our enemy can be. Think about how our enemy can trick us. If he can trick 3 million Israelites to turn on a leader that actually removed them out of Egypt, what can he do to us? Why have you brought us out of Egypt? To die in the wilderness. So I think that's what happens when you're a wilderness mentality. You just think that you're negative. You're negative. I think you know when you're out the wilderness mentality, you start thinking more positive. You start thinking, if you think you're negative, you're right now telling you now you're in a wilderness mentality. Straight. If you are negative right now, you have a wilderness mentality. Might be one either or, but you're walking in the wilderness. And you're blaming your leaders and you're blaming the food for the reason you're in the position you're in. We laugh, but there's the truth. What do you think they complain about with Moses? Leadership?
Food.
Leadership and food. And how many thousands of years was this written?
Yeah.
Right? And we think we're so unique when it comes to complaining about leadership and food. It's a principle. For there is no bread. You have to complain about there's too much bread.
Maybe they were eating something.
Maybe. but let's blame the leaders for that. Let's blame the leaders for that. Get gluten-free beer and stuff next time. We'll sell it in the tuck shop. For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and we loathe this light, contemptible, and substantial manner. As you recall, the Israelites complained that all their problems were the fault of God and Moses. They successfully evaded any personal responsibility, for they were staying in the wilderness so long. Why were they staying in the wilderness so long? Whose fault was that? It was theirs. They decided to, instead of following Caleb and Joshua, they decided to believe the report of the other 10 spies. Caleb and Joshua were great leaders. I mean, at 8 years old, Joshua went into Canaan and took out a lot of kings. No? He didn't stand back and watch, he got involved. Can you imagine being 18-year-old and still handling people's asses? Huh? How many 80-year-olds you know they can do that? I think some of us are a bit older, a bit younger, you can't do that. They successfully evaded any personal responsibility for why they were staying in the wilderness so long. God showed me this was one of the major wilderness mentalities that kept them there for 40 years. If you look at the trip, it should have taken 11 days. So there are trips, there is certain things you should have in your life that should have taken you a certain amount of time to get there. There's certain things. Because you know friends and family that people will be jealous of, that took this amount of time to get what they have in their life right now. You could have also had, but guess what happened? Now you're upset with God and everybody else. No, rehab is a result of your rehab. Take responsibility for it. No, rehab is not what happened that kept you from getting your thing. Rehab is because of the way you behaved. Instead of doing what you needed to do, get to the promised land in 11 days, you decided to take a longer route because of your complaining and moaning and blaming people and not taking responsibility. It was also one of the main reasons I spent so many years going around and around the same mountain in my life. My list of excuses for why I was behaving badly was so endless. If I hadn't been abused as a child, what does it remind you of this if? I wouldn't have had a bad temper. If my children would help me more, I would act better. If Dave didn't play golf on Saturdays, I wouldn't get so upset. If Dave would talk to me more, I wouldn't be so lonely. If Dave would buy me more presents, I wouldn't be so negative. If I didn't have to work, I wouldn't be so tired and cranky, so I quit work, and then it was. If I could just get out of the house more, I wouldn't be so bored. If we only had more money. This reminds you of what part in your CR of Jericho Recovery? Powerless. If only. You sit there going, if this didn't happen, if that didn't happen, if this, and what is happening when you do if you're not taking responsibility? You're not. It's impossible. If you say, if only I did this differently, you can't go back and do it differently. You can only do it differently now. Right? But, and the Lord said to Moses, send men to explore and scout out for yourselves the land of Canaan, which I gave to the Israelites. From each tribe of their fathers you shall send a man, everyone a leader or a head among them. So there were 12 tribes, so there were 12 leaders. So each person was sent with a leader in each of their tribes. Joshua and Caleb being two of them. When they came back, to make a long story short, they came back, Caleb and Joshua said, easy peasy, let's go down, beautiful land. And the other 10 said, yeah, these big guys, it's like really giants. We look like, what did they say? We look like grasshoppers. Not only their side, but they even said in their own side. They didn't believe they could do it. If and but are two of the most deceptive words that Satan ever plants in our minds. The 12 spies who were sent into the promised land as a scouting party came back with one bunch of grapes so large that to be carried by 2 people on a pole. But the report they gave to Moses and the people was negative. So there's opportunity for you guys. Every one of you, there's opportunity for you. It doesn't matter where you're at in life, there's opportunity for you. So look at the big grapes. Whatever they might be. Now what do you think? It was the but that defeated them. But do you understand that in times past that the language, when we spoke, the reasons we shouldn't our language should be thought out when we speak is because language then meant a lot. This communication meant a lot. Think about it. In those days there were no contracts. Even a while back. Not at this time. Even a while back. What happened when you made an agreement? You shake your hand. Or just say, Nico, an agreement you can buy the land for so much, done. You didn't go home and go like, oh, I wonder if Ralph's going to change his mind. You didn't have to do that. Our words meant something. So understand, when we sit here, we talk about, I understand this, and I know this, and I know this, and I know this, and I know this, and you give me this whole spiel of everything you know, and then you go, but. In the language, in any language, English but means you want everything out that you said before. It means nothing. So if you tell me a whole speech, you speak and you go encourage us for half an hour, and we all pumped, and you go, but. On a technicality, you just removed everything you said before. It doesn't mean anything. What matters is about what you're about to say. But. It's a powerful language. You understand? Just because we don't honor that language, I don't believe the spiritual realm and life in general and what life happens to us doesn't honor what we say. Just because we don't honor doesn't mean the unseen doesn't honor what we say. Think about it. It was the but that defeated them. They should have kept their eyes on God and not on the potential problem. One of the reasons our problems defeat us is because we think they are bigger than God. If God created all this, I think our problems are a lot smaller than I'm going to go to truth in the inner being. Have mercy upon me, O God, according to your steadfast love. It's a beautiful psalm, as David wrote this. According to the multitude of your tender mercies and loving kindness, blot out my transgression. My life has washed me thoroughly and repeated me from my iniquity and guilt, and cleansed me and made me holy, pure from my sin. Despite what was happening to David, his main thing was make me right inside. Make it right in my life. He didn't speak about his son and about this one. He said, me. Make me right inside. And that should be the cry of every one of us sitting here. Not worried about what everybody else is doing and what went wrong in our lives. We must say, make me right inside. Make sure that you respond correctly and do things. Make sure you do. Don't worry about hater doing it. I must look at how I respond, how I react. Amen. Okay. Father God, I want to thank you for this time you've given us to attend to your word. I thank you that truth is spoken, and I thank you that at least something that was said today, or some thought that comes from you, that gets planted and then it grows and it produces 100-fold. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.